So I want to start by building a selector, and this is going to be highlighted on the square, and then from there we're going to determine if there's a soldier in the square or whatever it is. But right now this part of the video is just going to be about selecting a square, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to try with the old Raycast, because I want to keep it separate from the square. I don't want the square to know anything about the game, because it really is the game controller should handle all that kind of stuff, and so the square should be just a render, a thing that you render things on, which is, you know, the square shape itself, the cell shape itself, and the soldier as well. So that being said, going back to the tower defense assets from Kenney, there is this selection here, selector A. I'm going to create a new empty game object, and I'm just going to call this selector, and actually let me call it selection cursor, and move that to 0, 0, 0, and then move this inside here, and now I can make this the prefab. So prefab, and then I'll create another one here called selector, and I'll drop selection cursor in here, and I want to get the height right for the blocks. So here's the blocks here. So square 0, I'm going to drag the selection cursor, I'm going to add it to this block here, reset the 0 axis, and you see that it's disappeared. But if I go into the scene and I pull this up to about here-ish, which is 0.2, I think that's good enough. Yeah, there you go. You can see that the selection is there. So I want to be able to highlight these squares at 0.2. Okay. So if we get rid of the selection cursor there, and then I'm going to create another object here and call this selection manager. Selection manager. I'm going to create a couple of blank objects actually. So this is going to go to 0, 0, 0 as well. And I'm just going to put all the managers in here. So these are all the sort of scene managers. So that's board grid and selection manager are going to be there, and then duplicate this and rename it scene objects. Okay, so all the scene objects will be underneath that there. So I'll get rocks and sand and stuff in there. All right. And then for the selection manager, I'm going to create a new script for that. So selection manager script, and then drag and drop that onto our selection manager. What? Or was that too quick? That was too quick, wasn't it? There we go. Okay, selection manager. So the first thing we need is we need a camera, and we also need to know where the selection object is, or we need a copy of the selection object. So let's have camera. Selector cursor. Okay. And then in here we've got our selection cursor, so we go to our prefabs and drag that in there. You see that it's in there. We actually don't want to make it visible, so I'm going to just drag it all the way over to here, and so it'll still be in the scene just like all the other objects here, but it's not going to obviously be visible when we start the game. And then when we hover over the objects, then it's going to be visible. So what we need to do is we need to change a couple of things here. So for our, where are we, in our prefabs, we've got board here. So we've got all these items here. We don't have colliders on them, I don't think. So we need to add colliders. I also need to change these over. So what I'm going to do is, much like I did in the previous video, I actually think I said I was going to do this in the previous video and then submit that to be this one. I didn't get around to doing that, so I'm going to do that in this one. So I'm going to recreate these objects here, and then I'm going to add collision bounding boxes to them, and that'll be just in this. Well, I'm going to do that just now. So now all the blocks look like this. They all have a main game object, and then underneath they have the shape, and then the shape itself has a box collider on it. What I want to do though is I also want to add a tag for this, and the tag is going to be let's just call this path block, and I'm going to mark every one of these as path block. So hopefully path block. I think I can get away with doing this in the project. So I go to the prefab here, and then I click on there, and then I do select all of these, and then I do path block. That should set everything as being path block. I'm hoping. It says untagged. I wonder if that's going to be a problem later on. We'll see. Okay. Now that we have that, I want to use the selection manager to then select to see if we have something underneath our cursor. So we have our main camera that we need to drag there, and then we have our selection cursor that we need to drag here. So in the code, I just want to check. So I'm going to take the point in the screen, the cursor where the mouse is in the screen. I'm going to convert that to world coordinates, and then I'm going to cast a ray into space and then see if it hits something. And if it does hit something, then I'm going to print something in the console, and then that'll give us an indication that something has, that it's worked basically. So so mouse position equals mouse dot current dot position, and then we can use camera get is it screen point to ray. Do we want that? Screen to viewport point, no, screen to world point. Is that going to let me do that? No. Mono or stereoscopic eye. Let's make that mono, and then so I'm going to convert this to. Can you not do that? I thought you could. That doesn't seem right. New vector 3 mouse pause. Oh, damn it, because this is the new position. Right, what do we have here? Oh, X and Y. There we go. Well, that was easy. Oh wait, no, hold on. Does it have value? I just want the value, man. I just need the value. World point equals that. And then I want to cast a ray into the world, looking down that point. I think I'm missing something here. I think that the Z value is going to be something. It's going to do the current near plane. I think. Camera main near clip plane. And then from there we can then do ray equals camera main green point to ray whole point raycast hit if physics raycast ray max distance, let's make it 50, 100. Yeah, let's make it 100. Then we want to see debug log hit dot game object name. Let's just print out the name. So let's bring up the console and Nutney. Oh, it's going to be tricky to figure this out actually. So let's. Well, the good news is it's not even running. The bad news is it's not even running. I think the problem is the weird camera. Remember the weird camera that I said I'd set up? Where everything's looking down that direction. I think I'm going to change that. Let's reset. I'm going to reset the camera, reset everything, and then we should be able to pick it properly. This is what I mean about choosing the right coordinate system. I should have left it as that. I don't know why I ended up doing it this way. I'm going to fix it and I'll come back to you. Alright, might as well play along. Okay, so here's the board here, which is 0, 0, 0. Let's make it go the other direction. So instead of going down the z-axis, I'm going to make it go so that it goes along. I think it's going to be. How are we going to do this? So I want it to go along the x-axis and down the z-axis. No, is that right? I feel that is the right way, but it isn't though. No, that's what it is. It should be the z-axis and then the x. I'll flip these around once we have it there, and then the z direction. Yeah, that's right. So that's going to go along on the x-axis. Forgive the naming, but it's going to go along the x-axis and then down the z-axis. There we're going to go. Okay, so that's right from a certain perspective. So this is where we want to be. So notice up here we've got the y-axis going up, the x-axis going that way to the right, and then we have our z-axis going in. So we want it to be this way, but we also want the straight. So this is the problem now. So all these values, all these ones are now wrong, and also I need them to go into the screen as well. So instead of plus equals that, it's going to be minus equals that, and that's going to bring it down. Okay. So that's going to bring it down into the screen. Okay, that's right. Although they've not fully fallen down, but never mind. So that's in the right orientation. And then all of these ones, these straight pieces are now all in the wrong place. So they need to be rotated in place. So if I go and grab, where's the prefab? Straight. So if I go grab tile straight, where's straight? There we go. Okay, so straight is going down that way there, but we actually want it to go down the x-axis. So if I just rotate that 90 degrees, that will fix the straight pieces. And we'll move the camera as well, so we can sort of see where we're putting these things. Okay, so that's kind of where the camera needs to be. So you can see that the straight pieces are now in the right direction. These are all in the wrong position, but that's okay. We can rotate them as well. I've got a funny feeling that these are actually rotated incorrectly. So there's tile end, so square 0, tile end red. So these should all be tile straight. Square 1 is rotated 90 degrees. That's not right, is it? Did I do that wrong? Hold on a minute. Straight. That's why. So that should be 0 there. And then this one here should be 90 degrees. That's why. Okay. So now it's going that, oops. It's going left to right instead of into the screen. So we run this now. We should have everything in the right order. I'm going to right hash of this one, haven't I? These are why the videos go on so long. I guess these are the kind of mistakes that you kind of run into when you're doing these things. Okay, so everybody's going along that way. Well, he's not falling all the way down, but that's okay. We can fix that. That's a small problem. Okay, so top left. So we just need to fix these other ones here. So that's the start and the end. So the start and the end. So tile end. Again, that's got to be rotated. Well, that's 180, so that's got to be 0. No, it's going to be 90. Is that right? Tile end. Is it minus 90 actually? I think it's minus 90 because that's the end of it, yeah. And then tile start, that's got to be 90. 90 there, okay. So, oh, darn it. Oh, yeah, okay, that's fine. It's a prefab. It's fine. It's all good. Let's come out here. So there's our start there, and our end is correct. And so we just need to get these corner pieces done, and then we've got everything round the right way, and then hopefully we can then get our selection stuff started. So I'm going to finish off doing that and then come back to the video. We should be in a better place to test everything, and I'll move these as well out the road and bring the camera back as well. And once we run it, you'll see what we've done. So everything's all back in place. The Z goes into the screen, the X goes to the right hand side of the screen, or left to right on the screen. Z goes that way, and everything's all right in the world. What I did was inside here, I added this here because it wasn't falling to the end position, and also ended up having to change the value here, but it's all working now. Okay. Let's see if we can get that selection script working now. So if we go back to our selection manager here, so it should print out the name. Let's see if that's the case. So go down here. And no, still not working. Okay, let's do some debugging. Okay, screen to point array, roll point X, Y, Z. Let's do debug, draw line. Start is going to be our world point, and then our end is going to be world point plus ray.direction times 100 in color red, and let's leave it up for a second. So for this one, need a bit more real estate on the screen, because actually, does it show in here? Oh no, maybe we can show it in here. I'm not sure if it shows if you got gizmos on or not, but let's check. Oh, there you go. Whee! It's very pretty, but you can see that it's not drawing the array in the right place. It's drawing it into here, so the line is going down the screen. So if I go to scene, if I split this up, let me bring this into here. This would be quite tricky to do, I guess, but you can see that it's basically is not hitting the right place, so we need to figure out why that's not working. But at least it is tracking the mouse position, it's just not calculating the array properly. I think screen point array. Okay, I think if I current position dot value, can I not take in screen point array? So if I take in the mouse position here, can I take that? Oh, I can. Okay, and then let me just cancel that. All right, let's see what we got here. Got our console window. So cast array in here. There we go. Okay. Nice. Okay. So we are getting those values there. Perfect. Okay. So now that we have our raycast, don't need that. In fact, we don't even need that. We just need this here to split it up. Okay, so now that we have that, now we can start adding our selection cursor to that point. We need to know that it's hit something. So if it hasn't hit anything, then we want to stop that being visible. Else selection cursor dot set active false. So we only want to recast something if it hits something. Actually, bool block hover. And then we'll call it block hover, and we'll say if it dot tag transform and this is path block. We want to set the position of the cursor to be the root object to that. So we want to say var game object equals hit dot transform dot root game object. Actually, we just need the transform, don't we? Is that so? We want to get the root game object of the thing that we hit, which is going to be the prefab. We then want to say selection cursor dot transform set parent. That was false. World position stays. That's good. Okay, we don't want that to be there. And then we want it to be active. So we want to say block hover equals true. Actually, is visible. So we want to say selection color is visible, else actually, yeah, it's just gonna be false there. Okay, so now clicking on this, bringing it through, we should have our selection working. All right, should have. Don't, but we should have. So let's see why that's not working. Let's attach that to there. So raycast, hit. Untagged. I think this is going to be a problem. Okay. Yeah. So we need to go back through and set all these prefabs. So that's a pain. Where's the board prefab? So I think the problem is this is going to be path block. Is path block, isn't it? Yeah, it's path block. Yeah, we're going to have to set these all to be path block. I did set, I'm pretty sure I set one of them to be this. Yeah, there you go, I did. Should have set them all. And then the last one, path block. Okay. So that should, fingers crossed. I keep saying should a lot in these videos. I tend to press play before I actually sort of check my logic and everything. Oh, there you go. So path to block, set the cursor, set visible to be true, set selection cursor to be true, blah, 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 blah. All right, so it's doing it, but not really. So let me bring the game down to here. And let's find out where the selection cursor is. So where's the selection cursor? So selection cursor is way over there for some reason. Okay, so alright, okay. So let's make it 0, 0, 0. Let's zero it, and then let's just hide it. Because I think the problem is you can do dot transform dot local position equals 0. So 0 in on the 0th position and then set the parent to be that, but then I kind of want it to be equals transform position plus up. I think it's that. Yeah, that makes sense. Let me. Because if I remember rightly, that was the value that I came up with for the height. So let's. No, still not liking it. So there's our selection cursor there. So our selection cursor's there. So when we select it, it is showing. And when you hover off it, it does hide it. But for some reason, it is not setting the position. Let's transform position. Transform position. Why is that not hitting? Let's go grab the rightmost one, and in that way it'll be something different. Okay, so position is that. So transform position. Oh, because it's not the most uppermost transform I need, because that is the root of that is the board grid. That's why it's always going to be 0. Oh, okay. So it's going to be hit transform, not root, but dot parent. Okay. That's why. Thank you all for screaming at me during this. I'm sure you were all screaming at the right answer. I know I was internally. Not really, but okay. Well, it's showing, but it's kind of hidden. At the same time, you can sort of see the outline of it because it is buried for some reason. Also, I just realized those guys are turned around the wrong way, so I need to sort those out. So if I make where's the selection object? Oh, because it's a child of that. Selection cursor is that. Oh, it's not going to make it that way. Yeah, it's buried away in there. Okay, so if I make this 2, that should. There's that word again. It's definitely there, but and it is definitely showing. But the local position of it is 0, which is not good. Transform position. Position. Factor 3 up. I'm just going to make that there. World position stays. If true, the parent related position scale and is modified such that the object keeps the same world space position, rotation, and scale as before. one last try, I think, before bedtime. There we go. Okay. So it's obviously too high. So we can make it lower than that. It's way too high. Also, seems to be kind of offset as well. Oh no, it's not. It's just offset from the top. All right. Okay. Times 0.02. I think setting that the local position after setting the world position is a bad idea. And that's what was causing the problems. Alright, it's definitely doing this again. Do you know what I should do? Except I can't. Because I can't debug it. I was going to just add it to this. Oh, there you go. Okay, that's us. Alright. So there's the cursor there, and then we can choose what ones are here. Now, the reason why so you're probably thinking to yourself, well, why did you do it this way anyway? I didn't want the selection to be part of these blocks because I want to be able to use the blocks for other things later on, like tutorials and things like that. And I didn't want to have the logic of selecting things in those blocks, and so keeping it completely separate means that I can it's much more modular is what I'm trying to say. But it also means though is that I can turn things off and on as well as much as I want. So this one here could be this particular use could be to select a cell, but this one here could be to choose to select a soldier. You can also set up rules as well so that you can deny certain squares as well. So let's say that you want to deny access to these squares here, or you click on that and then you can choose you can move to get it to move to the fourth square, or overtake a particular player, whatever. You can set all these rules up inside the selection manager, and then the selector some kind of game manager anyway, and that's out with it, and it keeps the logic of these blocks very tight. So you're not gluing the logic of the blocks with the selection logic, and that's the sort of the goal here. Now that I have that, I want to also select well, actually, the first thing I'm going to do is swap these guys around because they shouldn't be facing that direction. They should be facing front. But the other thing I want to do is when I select it, I want it to be red, but also kind of like pulse. So I want it to kind of go in and out scale wise. So that's the next steps to do for this one. So I'm going to fix those soldiers, and then we'll get on to the scaling part. There's a bit of a problem because the game not the game. So we have this color map here, and it's tied to a material which I can't find. I can't remember where I put it. Alt color map. Okay, so there's the color map here, and there's color map alt soldier. Now the color map alt soldier is inside art arena. Oh, that can't be right. Okay, so let me create folder, materials, and then I'm going to drag that into here. Okay, so now we have that one there. I'm going to duplicate this one, and I'm just going to call this what am I going to call this? Selection cursor. So this is going to be our selection cursor. And the reason why I want this to be our selection cursor is because if I open up our selection cursor here, it has a color map that I'm not able to change. Okay, it's gone a bit wrong because it selects the yellow, so I'm gonna have to change that there. So let me just change that back. Okay. Right. So instead of selection cursor, I'll delete that. Delete. And then I'll go to the tower defense again. And then we've got the color map here. I'm going to duplicate that. And then I'm going to drag that into materials. So this should fix that problem. So let me rename that as selection cursor. It's because I changed the material for the alt soldier so that it's a blue soldier instead of the red soldier, and all I did was I swapped a couple of the colors, but I had to change the material for it, so that's the reason why there's two of them. So if I go back to our selection cursor here and then drag that out onto a color map, you see that it stays the same there, but the nice thing though is I can actually change the color of this, so I can change it to red, or whatever color we desire it to be. So that's the first step, is to change the color. The second thing is I need to find out if the player has clicked a particular object. So I'm going to use the old input system just now because it's the only one I know, and I'm gonna have to have a state here for the selection manager. So private enum what am I going to call this? Selection state. And then it's going to be none. We're going to have selected. Okay. None, and then we also want to have serialized field. Selection allowed, and I'm going to say if return. So if we're not going to select it, if we're not going to allow selection, then we shouldn't have access to selecting anything. So now when we run this, you should see that when the mouse cursor moves over it, we don't get any selection at all. So the code's not broken, but it now no longer functions because we don't have that checkbox. And as soon as I tap that checkbox, we have our selection cursor there. So that's how easy it is to disallow the selection inside the game. Is you just uncheck that, and then that's it. You don't have any selection. So the next thing is when the player clicks, then I want to know if we're going to select something. So so if they hit that, then this is all going to happen, and then we can check to see if input.get mouse button down. And it's going to be 0. And then the current state, so we got private none, and then we're going to have need it to be select. We need to know what its selection is. So we're going to do selection. Selected. Okay. And then change color. So we can then say selection cursor dot get component in children mesh renderer material color oh yeah, I need to know the name, the color, don't we? Darn it. Where are we? Oh, soldier selection. Okay. Is it base map surface inputs? Can I not change it on there? So if I go to here, lighting. What's the name of it? Oh, it's just color. Okay. Okay. So set the color to be red. So when they select it, we'll do that. And then if the state is selected, then we don't want to select anything. So we want to say state equals selected. We don't want to select anything. So that means that it's sticky against that. So it's set it to be visible, set it to be red, and we don't change it. So oh yeah, I need the selection started. Let me just do that. Right, we want this to be on when we're debugging this part of the game. Obviously, it's not going to be on all the time, depending on what the part of the game you're working on, but or the player's on. So we've got this here. So let's select this square here, and well, it's sticky. I mean, it's not moving that cursor, so it is selected, but it's not gone red. But the other thing we want to do is we want to scale this object as well. So I want to say let's do start coroutine. I don't know why that's not working. Now, do I want to do a coroutine or do I want to do an update? I think maybe just an update. Let's do we want to pulse it, so it's got to grow just a bit, then back down again, grow, back down again. So we want to do private float scale 2 and scale 2, scale time, and then because what we're going to do is we're just going to lerp between these two values and then set the scale for it. So scale 2 1.2, scale time 0, and once it gets to that point we then scale it back. Private scale direction equals private float scale from is 1, private scale float scale current equals okay. So what we want to do is var current scale equals lerp, and then it's going to be scale from scale to time delta time divided by, and we're going to do this in a quarter of a second. If scale time greater than 1f, is that scale direction equals star. So we're going to put it back the way, and then our scale from how are we going to do this? You know what? I make this more complicated than it has to be. I think we can do a curve in here and just do a kind of up and out and then back in again. I think we can do it that way. Alright, let me do it that way. Alright. Alright. Animation curve. Okay, so scale curve. And again, I mean, we could put this in the selection cursor. Maybe we will later on. But the scale curve, so the scale curve is going to be this one here. So it's going to go up and then back down again. So I want to add a key here and put that there. And that there, and then bring this down to here, so it kind of goes up to, it goes from 1 to 1. And then kind of back again. So it's going to do that kind of pulse in and out of a curve. And then all I need to do is if state equals selection state hover, bar scale equals scale time. Scale curve dot evaluate scale time, selection cursor dot scale new vector 3, and then it's going to be scale the same on the Y. We don't want it to grow in height. And then scale along the X and the Z, and then we want to say scale time plus equals time dot delta time divided by 0.25, greater than 0, greater than 1, scale time. There you go. So yeah, so if it's in hover mode, we want to do the scaly inny outy thing, and then we'll figure out why the cursor's not. Maybe we don't need the cursor to be red, to be honest. I'm not fussed about it. I'm not going to spend hours trying to agonize over why it's not going red. I just need to figure out what value it is inside the material, and then I can figure that out later on. Okay, let's see what this was doing here. So that's Well, it's stuck, but I don't think it's growing and shrinking. No, it's not. So it should be doing this. And it's not doing that. Is that going down? No, it hasn't. Oh, right, selected. Oh, plenty of opportunity for you to scream at the TV for this one. Oh dear. Right, we'll get this done eventually. Alright, here we go. Hold my breath now. So let's see where we go. Okay, so we got our hover here, which is perfect, and then we click on here. There we go. A bit fast. Let's make it a second. So we want it to be a kind of pulse. We don't want it to be like a kind of, that was very kind of Amiga style flashing. Take a drink here. Okay. There you go. Okay. What does that look like here? Okay, that looks good. So it's scaling along nicely along the X and the Y. And it's not scaling on the X and the Z, and it's not scaling on the Y as well. Okay, so that's good. But we also need a way to cancel it, and the way that we'll do that is we'll say if input.get key down keys.keycode escape. We'll say selection cursor.transform.local scale. Set that all to ones, and then we want to say state equals none. I think that's it. That's all we need. Okay. So now, okay, so we want to select this guy here, and we're like, no, maybe not that guy. Hit escape. Maybe not that guy. No. What about that guy? No, not that guy. That guy? Nah. And we can do that over here as well. Perfect. All right. So we're just building these little mechanics up. So this is our kind of selection mechanic that we've got going here. And the nice thing is that, you know, the cursor clamps to these because it doesn't know how to interact with anything else. It just knows how to interact with the blocks. So the next steps, I think, is going to be selecting the soldier that's on there, and then doing the soldier moves, or the pawn moves, dancer moves. Actually, they're called dancers in Senet because they dance around the board. And then move the soldier to a new square. And I think what we need to do is, when we have that selected, when you okay, let's figure that out when we get there. I'm just thinking about how do we indicate where that player can move to, that piece can move to on the board. So for example, if you are this player here, this player here, then you can move to this square, which is occupied by the blue soldier, or you can move to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Because you can't move to 5, because you can only move 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6 moves. So we need to figure out the rules around that. I think let's keep the video as short as we can for this time round. And we'll end it there. Thank you very much for watching. And if you haven't already, if you want timely reminders when I put a new one of this series up, or any of my videos up, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and if you like what you see, like and share on social media, because it really does help the channel out. Appreciate everyone watching, and have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.